Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of LostinTranslationmon. This time we're covering Digimon Ghost Game Episode 13, Executioner. I'm May, and I'm joined by the lovely Chloe.
Hello.
And of course, the equally lovely Quinn.
Clello.
Clello. So yes, apparently me saying Chloe made me think that every word should start with a cl sound. So, lovely, wonderful, that's a word now. So yes, Quinn is with us this week, which is cool. And now Quinn can give us her thoughts on episode 12, which was last week's episode, before we get into digging into episode 13. So Quinn, take it away. What were your overall thoughts? You have the floor.
So I was into the concept. The ideas were good. The execution was just kind of lacking. I was really into everything about Jellymon and Hiroshiro, but Gamamon. I was begging the entire episode for Gamamon to get a second note, please.
Mm-hmm. And
not just be extremely willing to fight for chocolate and also justice, I guess. I don't know.
As an afterthought.
So mostly chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a lot. And going into this next episode, I guess it left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth of... Spoilers for this episode, I guess, when you know, I'm supposed to believe Gamamon has complex feelings about anything.
He's shown the capacity for it before, though. He was worried about Hiro when Hiro was having his old time slips.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I just, especially after last week and seeing how just deeply immature and kind of one-dimensional he is as a character.
Sometimes he's two-dimensional, though.
In episode 1 and in the Clockmon Returns episode, we kind of saw that Gamamon does have some complexity. But you're right, last episode was just Gamamon temporarily loses complexity.
Yeah.
He's just chocolate.
I wish we had been building toward this a little more than last episode did.
That's fair.
So, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Yep, and who was your favourite character?
I think I'm going to go with Jellymon.
That is fair. I think from memory, did we both pick Jellymon? I can't remember.
We both picked Kiyoshiro.
We picked Kiyoshiro last week, so that's
he
a surprise.
was a good boy.
Yeah, but Jellymon was a close second.
It's nice that we get Jellymon. I think from memory, we were both considering Jellymon anyway, so I'm glad that one of us picked Jellymon. As for your rating, you said 3.5, yeah?
Yeah, it was fine.
Okie dokie, let's do some quick maths. So that means overall episode 13 got a 12.
Episode 12,
which means that it's... Episode 12 got a 12, what did I say?
13.
Okay, episode 12 got a 12, which puts it in a tie with episode 3, which was Scribbles. So do we like this episode more or less than Scribbles? I would personally say more.
I was going to say less.
Less? And Quinn?
Go with less as well, yeah. Which, when it comes to my position in the rating, just right under Scribbles.
Yeah, so it's right under Scribbles for our overall. It's in 8th place. So Quinn, you're saying you're also putting it in
8th place,
just under Scribbles? And I think yours matches up with the overall the most. Just looking at it, it seems to...
I am an influencer.
Match up. Though I think this season we're agreeing a lot more on episodes.
By and large.
The episodes have just been a lot more consistent.
Which is good. It is good to have good things to watch each week. And you can quote me on that. Good things are good.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. So now that we've got that put in, do you have any other thoughts about episode 12? Or are you ready to jump into episode 13?
I'm ready to dive on in.
13.
Let's dive into the future. So let's go over the synopsis before we head into our deep thoughts. So this episode sees a Digimon assassin, and this Digimon murders other Digimon to increase his body count, and he's counting in German, which is interesting. The group is rather scared of this, and they end up accidentally kind of not on purpose using Jellymon as bait. Our Jellymon, by the way, appears to have a side gig doing these quests and fetch quests and things for random Digimon.
It's pretty great. I loved her new coat.
Yeah, I love Jellymon so much. I love how Digimon wear clothes in this season apparently.
Yeah.
Because Sunflowmon was looking for a kimono,
Uh-huh.
and I mean,
She was just gonna
side
charge
tangent.
to Kiroshiro.
I like how she wasn't like. I was surprised she wasn't going to steal it. Honestly, like she wasn't just going to steal it. But yes, side tangent is that I love how we have Angoramon who is just hanging out drinking tea with the Digimon buddies, and Jellymon has basically got a job
fraud?
doing fetch. Yeah, basically. So
Well,
she continues to be best.
Wasn't that kind of the whole reason behind the go-kart episode? Was Jellymon just got Sistermon Ciel a go-kart?
Yeah, just...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is something we've seen before, but it is great.
Yeah, I just love that she does
So-
the odd jobs like that. It's
I'm
pretty
here
great.
for it.
Yeah.
It's very Cyber Sleuth.
Also, can we
Yeah,
talk
I-
about how
yep.
this middle schooler has a credit card?
I mean, he also has a master's degree.
I know,
Yeah,
but like
I'm not that. I had a
I'm waiting-
debit card when I was that age. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, I had a
Or
debit
that's not
card,
that weird.
but I didn't get a credit card until I went to college. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird
I'm
one for
not
that.
sure that Japanese actually, like, linguistically...
I don't think they use credit cards.
Yeah. I'm not
They're
sure
very
that there would be a
cash-based.
verbal distinguish. But there's also
he's
that.
been to
Way more
uni.
cash in Japan.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But anyway, so we kind of accidentally use Jellymon as bait, and Sealshamon reveals himself and is about to kill Gamamon when Bokumon jumps in the way. Bokumon dies and basically just evaporates into Dada, and this causes Gamamon to break down, and he's about to get hit when Hero runs towards him, and we have Hero's vitals on his Vital Brace Digivice fluctuate, and Gamamon evolves into another evolution, Gullus Gamamon, who is then about to kill the group. But then something suddenly attacks him and causes him to revert to Gamamon. We then learn about Digitama and how Digimon are reborn, and Gamamon bursts into tears, and we see Blacktailmon Uva approaching the Digitama, and a black Agumon looking suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a new ending theme. So now that we've gone over Synopsis and our housekeeping notes, let's dive into the discussion. So what were our highlights this episode?
This episode slapped. It was so good.
Yeah, right?
It was pretty
Yeah,
solid.
absolutely. Like,
I really liked it.
this episode, like, it's like the first time I've liked an episode, but I won't like say, oh, but it had pacing issues. This episode was paced perfectly. It didn't have the problem of a really strong start and then they ran out of time at the climax. It felt like it hit every beat that it was needed to, and it fit the time slot perfectly. It didn't feel like it was too rushed. Of course, the previous episodes, which do have that pacing issue, also have a conclusion. This episode didn't really have a conclusion. It had a downer ending with a bit of a cliffhanger. We have Black Agumon, we have a bit of knowledge about the Digitama. So it didn't finish like the other episodes, but that helped it pace better, I think.
I don't even really think that comparing the ending to this one to the other ones that have just kind of ended is even fair, because this time it ended on it felt like a deliberately, kind of uncertain note, whereas the other ones have just, been like, hey, conflict's over, time to go home, eat your vegetables, kids. This one was like, oh no, so now we know that Gamamon can do that. What does that mean moving forward? Yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens moving forward. I hope that Gamamon has anxiety about evolving again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that he
Or
doesn't,
the
he
kids
doesn't
have
just go into,
anxiety about it.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't go into the next episode being all, completely fine. And judging by the synopses for the next episode, it seems like he will still have emotions about Pokemon, so that's good.
Good,
He's
yeah.
not just going to forget it.
He'll have emotions about Pokemon. It doesn't seem like he remembers murdering Pokemon and all that good stuff. Or,
He didn't.
He didn't murder Pokemon,
Yeah, I know what
but
I
he
mean.
murdered
He didn't.
Of going into all
Seals
murder
Stramon.
mode and everything that happened after that, killing serial killer Mon.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
I don't think he actually has memories of it. Like the previous
Yeah.
times
Right.
we've seen, because we have had Gullus Gamamon before. He just hadn't been a full evolution. We had him in episode 1, and Clockmon kind of got terrified by that, and then we had him revert Clockmon's attack on him in the last Clockmon episode we had.
Yeah.
Was that actually the actions of Goodless Gamamon? I thought
Yeah.
that was just kind of foreshadowing and plot convenience. Okay, interesting. I'll have to go back and
we
rewatch this or
had
something.
Yeah,
we
I'd
had a
have to-
silhouette both times of him and kind of like his color scheme. So it was very much just like showing that Gamamon had this dark side of this dark evolution that was within him, and he was just like one bad day from snapping into this evil version of himself, which, by the way, another highlight, that voice, like, the voice actress did a really good job with that voice. It was so threatening and so different. It was so scary. It was just... I was a big fan of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another highlight that I had is this is the first week since the very first episode where I think I can completely unequivocally say that the visuals were, like, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
They
especially
looked
that evolution
so good.
sequence.
Yeah.
That evolution sequence was just beautiful. The way that the fact that the voice acting was different, it wasn't just Galmon Shinka. It was him screaming it, like not just regular screaming. He was just like angry screaming it. And the fact that the animation was different.
Yep.
It wasn't just the standard stock animation. It changed a bit. His hand just sort of reached out of the light in this dark sort of aura. It felt so much more meaningful than the other evolutions that we've had for Gamamon. Even though we've had different evolutions, the animation has more or less been the same. So it was kind of nice to have that. The fact the music was different, the voice acting was different, the voice actually changed. I'm a big fan of, and this is something I was worried about, that when we have a dark evolution, that dark evolved Digimon doesn't have a personality. It's just a monster and just screams. And that's horrifying. Yeah, big monster scary. But the fact that Gulas Gamamon had a personality and was talking, that was scary for me. Like, it just, it made it so much more meaningful. And it just, I don't know if y'all have ever watched the anime Claymore, but it reminded me so much of Claymore. Like, just the way that
I've never
a
even
character
heard of it.
can just go. It's fairly old anime where it's kind of like there's a subspecies of human called Claymore, and they're kind of made from demons, and they can fight using their demon power, but they can only ever use like 3% of their power, because if they ever use any more than that, they'll start to lose their connection with their humanity, and they'll start to be overtaken by this demon which is within them. So there's like some points where the characters go to like, oh no, you're using 10% of your Yomu power, or Yoma, I can't remember, I think it's Yoma power. And then they just like, their whole face contorts, and they basically start growing like alien demon wings and stuff. And it just reminded me so much of Claymore, the way that Gamamon just like his whole face contorted, and then he just evolved into this scary thing, and then had like the same voice but a different sort of a slightly older sounding voice and a different personality, and just reminded me so much of Claymore, but better. And Claymore was good except for the ending, which was bad. And I liked this episode.
Yeah, it was really good. I like that there were actual stakes too. Seals Dramon like threw knives at the kids and wasn't shy about it.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
And Gallus Gamamon like almost killed the children.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the non-violent conflict resolution up to this point just left me feeling real, like, unprepared for the actual stakes in this episode.
I was surprised when, we started killing people, particularly, a character who has existed before, although Pokemon was admittedly very clearly surplus to requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't just, like, introduced in the last episode and we have, like, a fake relationship with it. Like, we have visited Pokemon for quite a few episodes now, so he felt like he was part of the team.
Yeah.
So the fact... I'm fairly certain that we know Pokemon longer than we do know Wizamon or any of the other Digimon who have just existed to die.
I mean, Leomon.
Yeah, there is Leomon, yeah.
I liked also...
I felt like...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. I was just going to say, it felt very Leomon-esque.
It was...
In the death.
Fair. I haven't seen enough Leomon to have that connection, I guess. But what I was going to say is that I like that the Mon of the Week was just a psychopath. Like, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't that he was lonely. He just wanted to kill more people, and that was kind of nice.
It was a very American attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like, it wasn't killing with a purpose. It wasn't just like, I don't like this particular Digimon. It was killing for fun.
Yep, to increase his
So
stats.
its motivation was just like, I just like killing people, I guess, which...
Yeah, that's scary.
I actually...
Just a gamer.
I like it. I know, with your big bad, I don't like, hey, I just like doing evil stuff, I guess. It's terrible for a big bad. But for a Mon of the Week, it's okay to just go simply. You don't have to have like it was a misunderstanding, or, I thought that killing people made them alive. This was actually just like, this was just someone who wanted to kill. And it's okay to do that sometimes. You don't have to give them like a misunderstood personality. Just make them just want to kill people. That's fine. As long as they just don't overdo it. This was good. And then we tried to do the talkie talk, and he was just like, "Yep, I just like killing people."
Mm-hmm.
That was great. Something else that I liked is that we got that flash of motivation, inspiration for the attacks for Gallus Gamamon, but instead Hero just like got a migraine, which is like I liked that. Like, it seemed that we know that a Digimon doesn't necessarily have to have their partner human say the attack.
Yeah, I like the implications.
Yeah, and that it might take something out of the human partner as well. Like, Hero looked hurt by it. He wasn't just like, oh, brief inspiration. He looked like it hurt him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. My theory for what that was, I guess, was because he said, something about getting a signal or something. So like, it kind of says to me that the Digimon are like kind of giving a like mental image or something, streaming a mental image to their human companions, and then they need them to like say the word to get the full power for or whatever.
Yeah.
So in this case, he like streamed image of just up and icing Sealsdramon, and Hero was like, oh no, I don't want to do that, and that like cognitive dissonance gave him the migraine, and then
that's great.
Gulus Gamamon was just like, all right, fine, I'll do it myself, you little punk.
No, that's a great way. Like, if you just sent him gore mentally, and Hero just is like, whoa, that's a bit too much. Like, that I didn't think of it like that. I just thought it was taking a power. But if it's actually showing them, like, something to inspire them to say this attack, if he's just showing him gore, that's horrifying.
Yeah. The sound design this episode was really good, also.
Yep. Animation, sound, voice acting, music, everything was just on point for this episode. Yeah. It was just... And I want more. Especially when Gulus Gamamon was trying to break out of the pocket dimension they were in, there were some real good sounds there. I also want to know about Black Agumon. I think that we're either doing it. I think that it's either like the Hero's dad's partner Digimon, or it is Hero's dad, and we're doing Detective Pikachu. I think I said that about. I think I said that about Black Tailmon, but now I think it about the Black Agumon. I'm pretty excited.
It's a possibility.
Like, this episode made me, like, as much as I already liked Ghost Game, this episode made me want to watch more Ghost Game. Previous episodes are kind of like, oh yeah, I enjoyed this, but it's okay to wait another week. This episode just was like, what? No, I need more.
No, this episode made me buy back in. I was a little worried that, they'd kind of run out of overarching narrative steam, and that we were just kind of go episodic for the rest of the series, but tying some of those threads back together and actually having like just a great episode through and through. I'm back on the Ghost Game hype train.
Yeah. It's very Appmon in the way that Appmon was also episodic, but every so often would have like something huge happen that just sort of took you away. Like, oh, okay.
It did remind me a lot of Appmon, actually.
Yeah. Which is great. Like, Appmon was episodic, so you can be episodic and have like a lot of episodes kind of be neatly concluded, but also have a good plot overall. And this episode introduced so many things. Like, it introduces that Digimon die and are reborn as Digitama, but when they are reborn, they're not the same Digimon.
Yeah, don't have the same memories, which is neat.
Yeah, it's nice.
Not a very good version of reincarnation, but
yeah, right.
I would like to be immortal by virtue of not dying, please.
Yeah. And you've introduced a mysterious character, and they've introduced, like, a dark evolution, and when we got the evolution to Gallus Gamamon, we saw, instead of the vitals just going up, the vitals were, like, fluctuating and decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also something that was new as well. Like, it wasn't just responding to Gamamon freaking out, it was also responding to Hiro being worried that Gamamon was about to be murdered.
Potentially.
So it came from both of them.
There was a neat little detail, or sorry, feel free to finish your thought.
Oh no, I was just going to say, in general, I just like Dark Evolution episodes, though.
Yeah.
I love the trauma.
This one's definitely up there.
Yeah, and every season of Digimon has had a Dark Evolution, except for 02. And in 02, there was an episode where the character who you'd expect to get a Dark Evolution is forcing their Digimon to evolve by gaslighting them. And doesn't result in a Dark Evolution. And that's the only time.
He gets
and it is so
perfectly
weird.
good evolution out of it.
Yeah, and he's like, but he doesn't even have a good reason to evolve. Like, in Season 1, we had Tai feeling like he's the only one who can protect the group, because he's the only one with a crest. So he, like, force feeds his Digimon and says, look, you've got to evolve. And then we have in Season 2, the character is just like...
Thing.
Yeah, but it's not because he feels like he's the only one who can help. He wants to impress the girl he likes.
Yep.
So he pretends to be in danger. It's like the boy who... I think it actually is called The Boy Who Cried Wolfmon in the English dub. Because he's just like, help, I'm in danger. And then he's not in danger. And he's just kind of terrible. And he gets the evolution anyway at the end of the episode.
Yep.
Wild.
But so that should have been a Dark Evolution episode. And because I just love Dark Evolution episodes. Give the characters a little bit of trauma in their life, please.
I love the trauma.
Always.
A neat little detail that I noticed, which is not, like, new to this episode, but is still kind of neat, is that when Gamamon evolves, there's, like, a pretty visible red, blue, and green, like, DNA thread that all kind of converge on him, you know, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching when Jellymon evolved. She only gets the one pink DNA strand, which implies that she won't have any branching evolutions, which is probably already implied, but it's nice to just kind of have that little extra confirmation. But I really liked in this episode, when Gamamon did his evolution, he just sucked in all of the little DNA strands into his little implosion. It was like, it was really cool.
I am kind of salty about no one else getting branching evolutions.
I mean, we kind of knew that from even before the show started, that everyone else would get just their one.
I'm just still kind of salty about it.
But at least we only know that they have one each perfect evolution, and then we don't know Mega Evolutions for any of them, because we didn't really... They all got Mega Evolutions on their dim cards, but they weren't anything... They weren't new. They were just kind of like the other Digimon that already existed. So that's still an unknown. Maybe we won't have Mega Evolutions. Maybe we'll just get to perfect. I don't know. Or maybe they'll just sell a second dim card for each of them.
That's my bet.
Yeah, and of course we have to have the thing that Adventure Colon surprisingly never did, but give an upgraded Digivice to sell an upgraded Digivice toy. Yeah,
I'll be curious to see if they decide to do that this year. I hope not, but as much as I've already been complaining about the capitalism, that sure seems like a thing they could do.
I mean, yeah, but that's not something that's new to Digimon. We've always had them selling a Digivice and then selling the second Digivice.
Yeah, but there's, a lot less need for it now, since, you can just update software.
But see, they need to sell more units and make more money is the thing.
And
exactly.
I need to buy more.
And we need to
I'm
fuel people like Air's addiction to Digimon.
Yeah, I fully admit that I'm the problem here. I just really like stuff. I like the Digivice. I like the Vital Bracelet. I think it's fun.
That's fair.
That's fair. I just...
Oh, I totally get it.
Do
we have any other highlights?
Yeah, my last, I guess, real highlight is that I just love that they made me... The range of emotions they made me feel about Gamamon this episode was pretty impressive. Like, I was, live writing notes in a little Notepad++ document while I was watching, and it went from me saying towards the beginning of the episode, oh my god, I'm so over Gamamon being 3 years old, to, like, at the end of the episode saying, oh, Gamamon, my poor baby. Like,
yeah.
And the fact that Goodless Gamamon actually just straight up kills the big bad of the week, like, it adds
cool.
stakes to ever seeing him again, and it was cool. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see what's going to happen as we move forward with this.
I will say that I hope Gammamon doesn't just have now exactly 2 notes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see that happening. But at least it's more than one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Finally.
But no, I totally agree with you. Even I, at the start of this episode, was just like, oh, Gammamon is just the same in this episode. And I just was kind of like, okay, I get it. I get it. He's baby. And that's cute. I'm still a fan of Gammamon. He's not my favorite anymore because Jellymon is the best.
Exists, yeah.
But, yeah. Like, I can't believe how fast it went from just like, oh, Gammamon's the best, and then Jellymon appeared, and like, Jellymon is the best.
Yep.
Like, friendship ended with Gammamon. Jellymon is my new best friend. Or should I say Jellymon-sama. She's my favourite. I love her so much. Any other highlights? So I guess lowlight time?
Yeah, I've only got a few.
I don't actually have... Yeah, I don't have any lowlights, really, other than the episode ended, which was a highlight a lot of the time in Adventure Colon. Like, the fact episodes ended was my favourite part, but the fact that ended was actually a lowlight for me. Like, I really loved this episode, and I know I've loved a lot of episodes before this, but this episode was just like, yes, more of this. This is what, when Ghost Game started, I kind of wanted Ghost Game to be, which is just like terrifying and a little bit like, even though it's still a kids show, and I'm not going to say, oh, this is not a kids show, this is definitely a kids show, but it feels like it's a little bit more than a kids show. Like, it's something that adults can watch and enjoy. Mm-hmm. Like, it just felt a little bit more, and that's what I wanted from Ghost Game, and this episode definitely gave me what I wanted. And yep, so no lowlights for me, so go off, I guess.
Okay. My primary lowlight for this week is that I'm kind of disappointed that they made it more or less explicit that Gammamon doesn't remember what he did as Gulas Gammamon. I think it would have been just so much more interesting if Gammamon also remembered his Dark Evo, and then you could get, like a character moment about like being terrified of evolving again in case he loses control and endangers his friends again.
Gammamon existential dread.
Exactly.
But I'm wondering if they're going to have him slowly remember. Like, I might be misremembering this, so I'm not 100%, so feel free to correct me. But the previous times he's, like, half evolved to Gulas Gammamon, he's had, like, somewhat brief flashbacks later on about that thing happening, but he's not quite sure what it was. So he doesn't have a full memory of those times. So I'm wondering if he's going to slowly reclaim trauma as he fights, and then he's going to just break down and realize that he became like this terrifying monster. So I'm wondering if we're going to be going down that road of just like, oh, he doesn't remember, but he's going to slowly recall the whole thing, and he's going to just break.
Chloe, you kind of had this as a highlight, but I will say that I wish that there was a little more than just, I like killing things and counting in German for the bad guy.
That's fair.
I was sort of expecting there to be, something that happened at 1,000, and they're just...
I also was expecting there to be something that happened when he hit a certain number. That's fair.
Yeah, and
yep.
Just, no.
I thought he was going to evolve or something, but it turns out, and I guess I kind of still like this, the fact that it was completely pointless. Like, other Digimon have goals of, like, I need to do this a certain amount of times to evolve or whatever, and that's what you'd expect. But I'm kind of torn here. Like,
we just got,
on one hand, it was pointless.
I love stabbing things.
Did either of you watch Luther with Idris Elba way back when?
No.
What?
Okay, well, spoilers for Luther, because I kind of liked this Big Bad because it reminded me of the finale of Luther, where the whole thing was that it was kind of scary because it was a couple people who were just so divorced from reality that they were killing people like it was a game, and like literally rolling die to see whether or not they would, kill this person they came across. And just like that level of... Well, yeah, but just that level of, like, disconnect from reality and the fact that, we're all just humans and any one of us is capable of killing any other one of us if we just, decide to ignore the rules of society. Like, I kind of like those episodes every now and again.
That's fair.
Yeah, I get it. Any other lowlights?
My brain won't let me not just say, sure was nice of Sealsdramon to give them a few minutes to process Pokemon's death and give Gammamon his Dark Evo sequence, and, just pausing for a few minutes, not really caring to get his number back up.
He was aiming. He was aiming to attack Gamamon again.
He
while
could have
was
shot
grieving.
another one so much faster, though. Like,
I think all his other shots were kind of like slowly lined up anyway, so I'm just gonna let that one slide. Because Digimon does love to have characters, but bad characters let Digimon have moments and have character moments and have evolutions without attacking.
He definitely needed time to aim, except for, when people were running and he could shoot, 4 knives in fast succession.
yeah, he shot 2 at the ones that were eating the vegetables on the bench in, like, rapid succession, accurately even.
Oh yeah, poor Monodramon. I love Monodramon so much, I can't believe we get to see it again in an anime, only to immediately get obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that was heartbreaking.
Yeah. I will be a little curious to see what they do with the Bokomon egg and such, and also if we're going to get a complete set of Dark Adventure Digimon.
We've already got Dark Tailmon and Dark
can
Agumon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can we get Aruramon, please? I love Aruramon so much.
But dark.
We're finally going to
Which is
answer
just, by
the
the way-
questions from Tri, because this is a secret Tri sequel.
I wouldn't mind that, actually. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Tri, but if
Also,
we had to
Rio
do it...
was there.
Also, can we not do Rio? Because we had Monodramon. Like, we had Millenniummon in colon, and now we have Monodramon. Just, like, please can we stop with the Rio? Like, we just have Rio looking on as his partner Digimon gets obliterated. And, like, no thank you.
Just one scene of Rio, just utterly traumatized at the end of the universe.
He should be traumatized after all he's gone through, though.
He really should. Anyhow, that's enough
Anyhow.
me talking about Rio.
That's fair.
We talk about Rio a lot on the podcast, to be fair.
I like Rio.
I think we've spoken... I like Rio too, but I think we've spoken about Rio more than even the writers of Digimon have ever thought about Rio.
That's very true.
We've spoken about Rio more than he's ever been relevant. Like, so much, which I don't mind, because I don't mind the Wonder Swan
There
games.
was just
I think
way
they're
more
fun.
potential for Rio than they ever used. And I love how just absolutely stupid the canon is.
I like how the big bad fell in love with Rio. That was horrifying and creepy.
Yep.
I wish I had any idea what you two were talking about.
It's so much better without.
Yeah, no, it's pretty great.
We have so many recap episodes about the history of Rio and Millenniummon and the whole thing, but basically a bad guy from season 2 goes back in time to merge with a bad guy from season 1, and then Rio has to save the main characters from season 1, and then the bad guy ends up falling in love with Rio, and when Rio gets his Digimon partner, ends up fusing with the Digimon partner, and then going into season 3 and being a main character.
Season 3 being a separate universe, it should be noted.
Yes, also that. Which in that universe, Digimon is actually a card game.
Oh.
So, and not actually a real, like, quote-unquote real thing. So,
And
yeah,
the dub did the
it's
best
wild.
possible thing and had seasons 1 and 2 be an in-universe television show.
Is that not
And
in the
then-
original, though?
It is not the case
not-
in the original.
Sort of. In one of the seasons, we also get a crossover, and that character mentions watching them on TV in the original. So later on, but anyway, so we're not talking about Rio, we're not talking about any other seasons but Digimon. Who are your favourite characters in episode 13 of
Hold on,
Ghost
I had
Game?
one last low light,
One last thing?
which is
Please, and not mention Rio.
I won't because I'm still not sure who this person
That's
actually is.
okay.
Anyway,
Good.
my last
Go
low
off.
light is a very minor one, which is that I do like the design of Gulus Gamamon, but he also does strike me as a little Shadow the Hedgehog-y. And for the record,
Yeah,
I know
Edge.
nothing about Sonic, and please don't correct me, people in the comments, because I don't care about Sonic. But, like, it's just, the Shadow the Hedgehog thing of what if main character, but evilish and edgy.
Yeah,
Edgelord
I get it.
carries a pair of guns. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I like the scarf. I like how Gamamon and his evolutions have scarves.
I'd lose the
And they're
horn.
different scarves.
The unicorn horn was so it was so extra. I loved it.
That's why he reminds me of Claymore. Like,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'd lose the horn. The rest of the design was good.
I'm just a big fan of Scarf.
I wish that as Bokomon died, I cared at all about Bokomon.
As far as I'm concerned, this was the purpose that Pokemon was going to serve, like, from day one.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I just,
absolutely.
kind of wish that weren't the case. I wish they'd spent a little more time tugging at my heartstrings is all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, favourite characters, mine, I was close to choosing Jellymon, but I went with choosing Gamamon because I kind of have a rule to, if you choose an evolution, to just choose their child level, and I would absolutely choose Girlless Gamamon, but because he's still technically Gamamon, I've picked Gamamon. So, Chloe, who is your favourite?
Yeah, I think by that rule I'd have to go with Gamamon as well.
Still Jellymon.
And Quinn? It's completely reasonable. I almost picked her and I was just like, look, there's a pretty big chance that somebody else on the podcast is going to pick Jellymon.
Yep.
And I'm so right whenever I do that. I'm like, I had to...
That's a pretty safe bet, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird how
Like,
Quinn
it's
likes Jellymon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I apologize for the
Jellymon. I
ice
think-
machine in the background.
It's fair. It's cool.
You've probably been getting chair squeaks out of me the entire time anyway, so...
It's alright. Maybe I'm sure the listeners will appreciate the ASMR or whatever. I still
It's
don't
like
know what
you're
ASMR
here with
is.
me in the room when
That
I
is
go...
definitely not what ASMR is.
I don't get ASMR. I've listened to it and I'm like, just words. Like, I don't have any feeling. Maybe I'm dead inside. Anyway, so speaking of dead inside Pokemon, rating for
dead
this
inside
episode,
me.
I gave this episode a 5 out of 5 for the rating. I think it's the best, so of course I also put it at the top of my ranking. Chloe, what's your rating for this episode?
I think I agree with you on both counts. 5 out of 5 and number 1 on my list, actually.
And Quinn?
I think I'm going 4 out of 5, but still top.
What?
Wait, how is it the top but only 4 out of 5?
I have not given a 5.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
Hang on.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I'm looking at the
Yeah,
list.
episode 5. Episode 5, you
so I
gave
did.
it 5.
Alright, then I guess I gotta give
So
it
you
a
have to-
5, because I do think this was better than episode 5.
Okie dokie, so just 5s across the board. It's nice to see that we agree on it again. So that makes it nice and easy because that means that in our overall ranking it is also at the top. So that makes it very easy because I don't have to do any quick maths, so I do appreciate that. And
But what do we
yeah,
do with
so
the
I guess
this?
Okay, so...
please top this. This would be great if they
Yeah,
can top
that's
this
what I'm saying,
episode,
though,
I want them
like-
to keep on doing that.
I can't wrap my head around the fact that you're going to give it a 4. Like, what more would you want out of Digimon?
I was gonna give it a 4.5.
But what more would you want?
Honestly, just some more character development out of Gamamon.
That's fair.
But they only have like 20 minutes to do an episode, and a lot of that's just
Meh.
intro, outro, next time on, previously on, just sort of.
I mean, I agree. I
Filler
just think we could have
stuff.
traumatized Gamamon earlier and maybe had him remember it.
We could have
Crisis
given
about
them that lasting trauma of having him remember it.
Exactly. You know, I think there were ways the execution could have been improved, but I agree. This was a very good episode.
Yeah. I don't think they can top this because I'm a pessimist, but I want them to. I want them to, like, immediately and continue to top this. But if they do, we will then... I'll need to look at all the things I've given 5s to and reevaluate it because I've given a few 5s. Given 5 5s, I think. Yes, or something like that. But anyway, do we have any miscellaneous thoughts?
I'm happy that my prediction that it was going to be a human hunting Digimon turned out to be incorrect. Not because that would have been worse than this necessarily, but this was very good and I did not expect it.
I will
And
say...
it would be a little much if Gamamon went and actually killed a human.
Yeah. I will say that I wish that we would do a Ken, but just a human who is a terrible person by choice, and just have an evil chosen child.
It's not too late.
Yeah. I've always wanted that, just to have a character, like one of the chosen children, who is just evil, but not evil because of a dark spore. Just have them
Just a dick.
be evil.
Yeah.
I think I want to say that I haven't finished the Cross Wars manga, but I want to say that we do get that. But I think a lot of the manga have characters who are just evil. Like, they are humans who are just like, hey, so I'm evil.
That's fair.
This is my Digimon.
I guess we
think
get that a little
sort of,
bit in Atmon, technically, sorta.
Yeah.
Sort of. But
not enough.
Eugen's still in love with I almost said Hero. Eugen's still in love with Haru.
Haru!
Oh, I was mostly thinking, what's his name? President of L Corp.
Oh, the guy with the laugh.
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Knight was
super
his name?
extra guy.
Oh,
I wish he mattered more.
He was so... I love him so much. I need to cosplay him because he is like... I want him and Kiyoshiro to hang out.
Yeah.
Oh my
Kiyoshiro
god.
should date.
Yeah, they would.
And
They'd
just be
make
huge,
such a good couple.
huge, dumb weebs.
Oh,
dumb,
they'd be so good
smart,
together.
genius weebs.
They could take over the world. It'd be very good.
But yeah, I get what you mean. I would kind of like an evil character, and maybe Gammamon is evil deep down inside, and he just in this kind of small form, he's just less like he's just baby. But when he's in his true form, he's actually evil, and that's like his nature.
I mean,
I doubt it.
No more than Guilmon was.
Or Terriermon. Terriermon's probably the closest we've had to a character who is just kind of evil.
I just meant in terms of, like, you know, the evil deep inside him. They, like, Guilmon's natural evolution path is just, I'm gonna destroy the world.
Virus. Yeah. I just realised something, and, I mean, I still like this episode, but I just realised that it's sort of what we had with Offmon in Atmon.
Sort of. But not
Kind of.
not exactly the same, but similar, I guess.
Not enough that it's going to make me not enjoy this episode, but I just, like, looking at my figures, I was trying to think about evil characters, and I saw my my Shutmon figure, and I was just like, oh, that's right, he was evil and had scissors. Which is just, like, that's the design.
Yeah, there's some Offmon vibes.
I wish that I believed that they were gonna actually have Gammamon be evil and not just, you know, overcome his true nature via the power of friendship.
Alright everyone, now that we've discussed the episode, let's do some pondering, Postmon Pat, and predictions. So first up, our questions and comments on the last episode. So first of all, we have Jack, who asks us if the episode for episode 12 reminded anyone of the Futurama episode where Bender loses control of his endless self-replicating clones and they deplete the water supply of the planet, given they were converting into alcohol as opposed to just drinking it.
I did think about that while
pretty
I
much
was
the
watching
same.
it.
Oh yeah, big same.
I can't even remember that episode at all. Like, I love Futurama, but I cannot remember that episode at all.
It was part of the Comedy Central reboot.
Yeah, it was from the later seasons, but
Yeah,
Bender gets a
I've only
duplicator
seen-
that makes 0.6
Yeah.
scale replicas
He
of
needs-
himself.
See, the professor,
Yeah, I've
as he
only-
gets older, has been getting smaller and colder, so he needs twice as many sweaters in a smaller size.
Yeah, I see. I've only seen all of those just the once, so
Gotcha.
that makes sense. I mean, I remember the finale because
Sure, it was
as
good.
of a lot of Futurama, it breaks my heart, but also makes me happy. Like, Futurama does emotions, but yeah, I guess that does do a thing, and I have to rewatch Futurama now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've watched Futurama way too many times.
Yeah.
I love Futurama.
It's so good.
Next, we have Twilord, who says that they feel like the last two episodes have been leaning into character flaws a lot. Ruri is a bit self-important, and Goramon seems to carry some of the loner role. Gammamon cared more about how the end of the world would affect his simple life, you know, his loss of chocolate, and Hiro's tactical attitude caused him to become indecisive. And yeah, I would agree, and I hope that they go into that more. Like, the characters have been sort of, like, kind of fine.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if we got to know more about their flaws.
That was actually a complaint that I had about episode 12 was Hiro sure didn't learn anything. He just was indecisive and then decided to kind of roll the dice and do the thing, and it turned out fine.
Yeah. Which, good for him, I guess.
But
I would
yeah.
like to see him struggle a little bit more.
Exactly, and to then next episode do the Dark Evolution, I was just like, oh, okay, so I mean...
Yeah. This episode
Okay.
made
Yeah.
last episode's evolution feel like filler to me.
It really kind of did. I think they could have just
forgot that we...
put it off.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even remember that we got an evolution last episode. Now I'm like, oh yeah, he evolved, and then the old Zasamon showed up and was like, hey, but stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually evil, I guess.
Yeah. Somebody showed up and
That's pretty
was
bad.
obviously evil, but said, oops, sorry, I accidentally sent out that chain letter that did all of this.
Yeah. Let me take
Yeah, it
all of
was a
these extremely
misunderstanding.
powerful copies of myself back home with me now, where I promise will be good.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I was, checks notes, episode 4. Oh, I was lonely like Pumpkinmon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still like the last episode.
It was interesting,
next
but
we
it
have-
definitely did end
Yeah.
because just somebody said, oops, sorry, and they just went, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't
So
be
next
too
we
evil
have
out
TGS.
there. Sorry.
Who says that episode 12 was 5 out of 5. The episode was fun and scary setup, and we got to see each team member helping, trying to fix the conflict, and Wes and Gabumon is such a fun and ridiculous Digimon. They love them. They personally took the elder Zasumon stopping the fight, as he didn't plan on having to fight with how weak the Zasumon seemed. They're guessing that the gang might have actually killed off the Zasumon clones, and they don't mind the slow burn of the evolution so far, since it's looking like we're only getting 12 evolutions this season, assuming they don't have any more split or extra evolutions, like burst mode or fusions. All of them get to Mega level, and we don't get a late 4th team member. As this is the smallest team of Digimon characters we've gotten so far, Tamers and Savers were also small, but had a bunch of minor Tamers who'd get episodes featuring them and their Digimon. And yeah, I would be surprised if we don't get a 4th, latecomer Tamer join the crew, maybe one of Ruri's friends.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that would be kind
We
of
could
cool.
definitely use a way for this show to theoretically pass the Bechdel test.
Fingers crossed, but I feel like they'd be
Yeah.
more likely to give it to Hira's shitty friend.
Oh god, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. We're gonna give it
Yeah.
to the pervert.
Yeah.
Well, that was the alternative, and I'm wondering, and something that could make that actually good is if he's partnered with the Dracumon who showed up, at the start of the show, and we actually do get an evil partner, if he just turns out to be super evil.
I mean, so
That
far
would-
we've basically just had him be a douchebag who's faced 0 consequences for anything, and played that
Yeah.
off as being a, largely okay
Aha,
character.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, I don't
Yeah.
Those
think they're
youths.
setting up for evil.
Yeah, it'd be cool though.
He just reminds me of all the worst parts of, can't think of his name, from Tamers with the cross shirt.
Is Kenta.
Kent-
Kazu.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah, Kazu, Hirokazu/Kazu is the one with the cross shirt who
That's
is a little
right.
bit more of a jerk.
Yep.
But he is Kenta and Kazu, and I think I've made that comparison a lot, that he's just the hero Kazu.
Yeah, he's
Kenta
just
character.
way worse than them, and annoys me, and I want to punch him.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to
Next
get a
we
Digimon
have-
because I then need
Oh,
to
yeah.
punch him more.
I want me to have Dracumon. Dracumon's a cool looking Digimon. Very evil, but very cool looking. Next we have Mateus, who says they may be wrong, but if they remember correctly, each time that we see the flashy transition when the Tamer commands an attack, it's only used when it's a new move. For example, with Angoromon's Petty Tornado, we only saw it once since his debut in episode 3, that's why they personally like them, because they know that they'll only be used once when we see a new attack. And yeah, I completely agree. After reading that comment when it was posted 11 days ago, I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's only when we first get an attack, and we're only 13 episodes in now, so we're seeing them less and less because there's less new attacks. So I'm a fan of them now. I kind of thought they were cool before, but I was worried they'd be overused. But now we've only seen them slightly, and we've got some implications that maybe we're just giving an image to the partner, and that can be horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of them now.
Yeah, it doesn't clash with my fan theory of projecting a mental image of the attack or whatever. So I'll accept it.
I'm fine with it.
Next, we have Narumi, who says they won't rate the episode because they have mixed feelings about it. Their main problem with episode 12 is how it ends. Wes and Gabumon was about to unleash his powerful attack, then an old Zasumon jumps from nowhere and says it was an accident and won't happen again. If the episode teased someone was watching the battle from far away, the old Zasumon appearing would not feel so anticlimactic. He was lying, so he could reappear in the future, and that could make them like episode 12 more. But they are waiting for Dracumon to come back and taking the revenge on Angoromon. And that's fair. Then they say, and they like a lot of the rest of the episode and the details of Jellymon being afraid of little Zasumons, like Kyoshiro is afraid of ghosts. Ruri protecting her friends, like Angoromon does, with her and Gabumon encouraging Hiro to not hesitate and triggering the Wes and Gabumon evolution. However, they wish that the ending was executed in a better way, because the episode is great in the other parts, and I completely agree, and that's something that Ghost Game does get hit by quite a bit, is that the starts of episodes are really good, but the endings are slightly anticlimactic, and they ruin otherwise fantastic episodes. And that's why I liked episode 13 so much, is that I found that it was perfectly paced, but also I guess it didn't really have like an ending. It just kind of, it wasn't just, like, oh, end of story, let's go home and eat your vegetables, kids, as you said before.
Yeah. Episode 12 in particular had a lot of collateral damage that we just forgot about.
Yeah.
Also, other people seeing the
That's
Digimon
what I meant,
and
like-
actually fighting back. I'm hoping that it doesn't have the Digimon problem, and Quinn, Chloe and I spoke about this a little bit, but the Digimon problem of just, like, everyone sees Digimon, but then the next day they completely forget about the
Hey
existence
man,
of Digimon.
what are you up to? Not remembering what a Digimon is?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, not remembering Digimon exist, pretending they don't exist. Alright, me too. Yeah, completely, that is a problem that Digimon has. Especially in the adventure universe, we have them all fighting in the sky in Season 1, and then Season 2 we're pretending they don't exist again, and then in Tri we're still pretending they don't exist again.
But then in Kizuna...
It's very weird. They just don't exist, yay!
Well, I was going to say, in Kizuna, they've become basically cops by the start of the
Yeah.
film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing.
You ain't wrong.
Next and lastly, we have Andrew, who says that the episode was a 5.5 out of 5, which I guess they really liked it, because they really liked the green type Triceratops, and they really want a model kit of Wes and Gamamon. The moment the camera panned to the old Zasumon, they knew he was a bad guy, and their theory it was his job to test them out for someone or see how many tamers are out there. And I guess that could make sense, and they're very excited for episode 13, which... I'm also excited for episode 13,
Yeah,
and I watched
you're
it.
in for a
I
wild
enjoyed
ride.
it. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it for Postmon. Pat, what are our thoughts about the series so far, now that we've got an evolution, now that we know what Digitama are, and now that we have a Black Agumon watching on from this episode? What are our thoughts about things?
I'm bought back in, although I did just remember that I had to have the obligatory highlight of we're really out here given Hero and Gamamon a fourth evolution before really gets a single one, but
Yeah.
it's such a minor low light this week because I think everything about the evolution was just executed like perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's really just
Yeah.
it's a low light
Last
in
week just
principle,
shouldn't have happened.
but that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of at this point wondering if Angoramon can't evolve. Like, if it's a little bit more of a struggle. We've had him kind of be vague after people get evolutions, like, oh, is it possible to evolve? Like, maybe Angoramon will struggle a little bit more than the other characters, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he just has
So I'm
performance
wondering-
anxiety.
That's sweet. Poor thing. I love him.
But yeah,
But yeah, I'm high hopes again for the series.
big same.
It had kind of mellowed out, but now I'm just like, nope, this series, I can still see it being better than Atmon.
They've reconvinced me that they can do large overarching story and do it well. So
We'll see. I'm
I'm
It
tentatively
was a good
bought back
episode,
in.
but I am not sold just yet.
That's fair, that's fair. Episode 14 is called Zashiki Warashi. What are our predictions based on the preview? There has been a synopsis that has come out, but I won't mention much about the synopsis,
Okay.
so go off, I guess.
We saw a pattern on someone's arm, and I really hope it's Kiyoshiro's, but the like robe or whatever that the person was wearing looked kind of like the robe that Ruli was wearing at the very end of the preview. So maybe it's just a side effect of whatever's going to happen next episode, but I really hope we're getting a hint about Kiyoshiro's arm. He looked a little dazed and loopy throughout the whole thing, so maybe he's going to reveal the big secret.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah.
Didn't he mention his arm hurting when it was touched? Something like that. Did I make
can't
that up?
recall.
Sounds familiar.
Anyway,
Maybe.
it was interesting.
I'm just hoping we just get an evolution for Angoramon soon.
That'd be
Yeah.
good.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't an evolution episode on the basis that
3 in a row would be a lot.
yeah, like this season so far seems to like to pace out the evolutions, except for obviously the hero ones, just a little bit. So I'd be surprised. But the synopsis did not say any of the evolutions were happening, but they hadn't for any of the other evolution episodes either.
Okay.
So I think that the synopses don't mention when there's an evolution or not, which
That's
is
nice.
kind of cool.
Yeah, at least we're not just
because
putting
means
it in
that
the
they're not
episode
big
title.
spoilers.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're not doing what Digimon Adventure Colon did was just like show the evolution that we're getting next episode.
Yep.
So that's neat.
Yeah, I am definitely more on board for the series than I was, because I was falling off, especially because I didn't think episode 12 was that good, at least not with its, like, larger systemic problems. But, you know, we'll see. I will say, Triceratops with a gun just kind of standing there going boom, boom, boom was, like, the most anticlimactic fight scene.
Yep.
I still liked it. Alright everyone, so thanks for joining us this week. You can join us next week for episode 14, and we'll see you there. So the link dump is linked in the description, and so is our Redbubble, which is linked in the description as well, as I just said. And you get more than just shirts there too, so check that out. Again, I can't read the outro for nuts, so please forgive me. You can contact us and stay updated. You can send us an email at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode on our website, which is LostinTranslationmon.com, or on this episode on YouTube. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, which, by the way, I got the auto-posting to work again on Facebook, so yay me, so definitely give a like to Facebook if you haven't already, Instagram, and YouTube, which definitely subscribe to if you haven't already, because I release a lot of videos about other things related to Digimon, and sometimes things that aren't Digimon related, so check that out. I'm also at Digimon_hero on TikTok, that's hero spelled Hiro, like the character in Ghost Game, and I stream on twitch.tv/translationmon, which I still haven't fixed the spelling in the segment guide, but it is spelled correctly in the actual URL. You can also chat with us on the Lost in Translation Mon Discord server, so you can do Vital Bracelet raids with us, you can build model kits, you can hang out with us, that'll be fun, so check that out. And you can also give us a review on podcast catcher services or what have you that accept reviews, and if I see the review, I'll read it out on the podcast. If not, please let me know, and I'll read it out on the show in our Postmon Pat segment. You can also donate to my Patreon, and that's linked in the description from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to the Patreon-only areas of our Discord server, but there are high levels with more rewards, such as unedited and early episodes and more, so check that out. And thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Joe, Stephen Rees, who is Wild64 on Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chusai, who you can follow on Twitter at Chisai236, Neobu, who says you should follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Carl, Lismet, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Sam, Emery from Gone While Hunting, a Hunter Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, JCMon05, Patrick, Jason, Grey Tanuki, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who is on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Dedicated Gazi, Elemist, and Michael. And now I can breathe. You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which can be found in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon. You can also donate to me on my coffee account, ko-fi.com/Airdra. And now I can breathe again. Ooh. So I've been May, and I've been joined by Chloe and Quinn. Chloe, can we find you anywhere?
Maybe around the Discord if you're lucky.
If we're lucky. And Quinn, can we find you anywhere?
Yeah, also occasionally on Discord.
Occasionally. So come by and say hi.
Yep.
That rhymed. I didn't mean it to, but it did. So take that, I guess. So thank y'all for joining me, Chloe and Quinn, and thank y'all for having us in your ear holes. We hope that we can be in your ear holes again next time, and we'll see y'all next one.
That way.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I thought I wanted to do something unique and fresh, but I guess that was bad. So we'll just, I guess, see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.